Here in Singapore at the PvP Esports Championship 2018. We're having some Dota 2 times now. AOV will be back tomorrow as we get into day 2 of our final stages. But we have a lot more Dota 2 for you. 5 more best of ones coming up to you live from here in Singapore. We already explained to you with Shiva and our brilliant panel how the teams got to this stage. We have 3 teams who were invited. We have 3 teams who fought their way through the group stage. Now we're going to mix things up and get over onto Group B's side of things. We welcome first to our stage, PSG LGD. Ladies and gentlemen, here in Singapore, please welcome PSG LGD! Welcome to the PvP Esports Championship, PSG LGD. Congratulations to you for being one of our invited teams. Please take your place. Up against them, one of the teams we've seen great action from over the last couple of days. They have a lot of letters in their name, and those are Boom ID. The winners of the Indonesian National Championship, Boom ID! It's Boom ID against PSG LGD in our next game of Dota 2 here on the first day of the final stages of the PvP Esports Championship. Good luck to both teams. Back to Shiva and our incredible analyst desk. And another Dota 2 best of 1 awaits.
Yeah, thank you so much, Matt. Indeed, we're here for our second game of the day. It is PSG LGD and Boom ID. Boom ID as a team coming off of the Indonesia qualifier and, of course, making it through the groups yesterday and being here in Group B. And their opponent is PSG LGD, second at the International, as you might remember. It's a tough opponent. This is one of the matchups that if you look at it, it's like, well, you know, it's a tough one, Kyle.
I mean, Boom ID didn't lose a game.
They didn't. They didn't.
They went 5-0?
Yeah, if there was a team that would take a game off LGD in this group, I would say it'd be them.
Yeah.
But I've been a fan of Dream itself for quite some time. I remember I showed these guys the clip that I think most people watching have seen of this crazy PL Delta split he pulled off like 2 years ago, where he manted and immediately just made a triangle, completely juked out Fnatic. So I'm excited to see him play. Indonesian team, so making a name for themselves.
But he's not the PL player anymore, is what we were told. So
I mean, apparently, and we were also told that the other guy's better at it.
Yeah, we were told that he is the better PL player. So we're looking forward to a couple of things we've seen. We saw them a little bit in the group stages. They had, I would say, overall pretty consistent wins. I think the only one game that they had go like about 50 minutes or so. Other than that, it was like 30-minute, pretty consistent, just very comfortable wins with the heroes that they like to play too. Yep. They showed a lot of different heroes too. It's not like they were opening with the same thing every single game. They were switching it up with their Earthshakers, their Pugners, their Weavers, just bringing it outside the box. Like, not outside the box, but just, you know, not picking the same opener.
First to Broodmother once too? I know they played it a couple times.
I think they might have. I know they opened with Nyx a couple times.
Really?
No, they never first picked it. They fourth picked it.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. What are your thoughts, Owen?
I mean, let's not beat around the bush here. It's going to be a tough game for Boom ID. As you said, the LGD, they were in the grand final. Not only were they in the grand final, they were one game away from winning TI.
Yes.
And not even they were one game away from winning TI. They nearly won that game. In fact, maybe they should have won that game.
Yeah.
Sort of fell off a lot towards the end of it. It's going to be a tough match for Boom ID, but hey, who knows? It's a best of one. Anything could happen. We've seen the power of sort of those cheese picks, those brood mothers, as we said, and we know that they can play it. So maybe they get it through the draft. Maybe something sort of throws LGD off their guard. Maybe LGD have been sort of taking it chill the last few months after TI. They came seconds, pretty good. Still make a lot of money. They're taking it easy. Who knows? And Boom ID, they may have been slaving away and super tryharding it, and so far we've seen in the groups it's paid off. Boom ID, they haven't dropped a game. They've been looking good in the group so far. Can they do it against LGD though?
Well, Boom ID is a team for a lot of people that might be somewhat unknown, and to help solve that, we have a video for you.
Oh.
My name is Randy Muhammad Saputra. My in-game name is Supervian or Dreamosel. I'm playing for Boom ID as position 1 carry. For us, PvP esport is a tournament that we need to win to prove that we don't just win Indonesian qualifier, but we can beat other team from Southeast Asia. We need to prove that we're the best in Southeast Asia and beat the other invited and tier 1 team. For me, no, I'm not that kind of guy who got pressured because of I play against Fnatic and TNC. No, I just play the game, and I don't think too much about the invited team because we just need to qualify first, just step by step, and then after we qualify, then we can think on how to beat the tier 1 team. We were really looking forward to play against Fnatic, I think, because we already practiced against them. We kind of know how they play instead of the other two teams. Like we only watch the replay, but we never play against them. So we just get coaches and some in-game knowledge, like how to connect in mid-game and laning phase, other stuff. But we practice like normal days. That's it. We are very ready to play against them. But I just think about the qualifying first before actually thinking about beating the tier 1 team.
One step at a time. That is how they seem to do it, and that is exactly the way they should be doing it. And sure, they want to face Fnatic, but to face Fnatic, that's not going to be the first step, because first step for them is making it out of the group. Group B here against PSG LGD. I mean, he looked very down to earth.
I liked how he was talking about, we wanted to play Fnatic because we played versus them.
Yeah.
We've watched replays of LGD, but we don't actually know how it is in the game of them, because you can do all the research you want about a team, but once you're in the game, everything changes.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, we have the plan at 2 minutes, 4 minutes, 5, everything just falls apart or crumbles, or it works perfectly. You never really know until you play that team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the main thing is that when you're playing against like the truly elite teams in Dota, they don't give you anything.
Yeah.
If you want to take a tower, find a kill, like you need to do it in a way that is surprising. Like you're not going to get away with, oh, the carry ran down mid all of a sudden and just got picked off by himself. Like, they're going to play crisp and clean, and they're going to capitalize on your own overextensions. They're going to go for Roche instead of 5-man smoking your base. But, it's a different environment completely when you step up your game and pretty much join the majors after playing for most of the time in the minors.
Yeah.
Indeed. For LGD, Owen, you already mentioned it, they almost won TI. They had probably a bit of a break. We have seen this exact scenario before last year. Newbie coming out of second of TI, and then they came back, and they were not as good as they were before.
Well, the difference here, of course, we saw a bit of LGD when they qualified for the major. So
yes.
we know that nothing's
They got
really
that
changed
going.
too much in sort of that sense. So I don't think there's any sort of worry there. And obviously for this LAN, they got invited. They accepted it. They came over, pretty soon after TI. So I think if anything, that shows, that they're not really going to mess around. They're here to win it. They're here to absolutely play their best, unless they wanted a free holiday in Singapore, which maybe they did. I don't blame them. It's absolutely fantastic here. So maybe we get, like, as you were saying earlier, a maybe Pudge, but I don't think they're going to go sort of that far. I think we're going to see some proper, you know, LGD, TI, close to TI level Dota from them. And as I say, Boom ID, they've got nothing to lose here. You sort of heard that in the interview. They weren't even thinking about sort of playing against the Tier 1 teams other than Fnatic, who they knew that in the past, they've had a bit of an edge over. So for Boom ID, they're coming into this. If they win it, absolutely fantastic, amazing. Brilliant for, of course, all the Indonesian Dota fans back at home. We've been over there. We know how big the game is and how much they love it. So it'd be amazing for all the fans if this team was able to upset one of the huge giants like LGD. But it's looking pretty hard on paper. And
it is cool as well. I mean, everyone on the team coming from Indonesia, Dota is very much a multinational esport. There are very few teams. I would argue, I think LGD doesn't even have 5 players in the same region. So I don't know if any of the top 8 teams can say that. It's very much the opposite of what the Olympics would be, which is also part of the reason, you know, WESG doesn't really see many top team representation because everybody's such a mix. And this is 5 guys all from a country that I don't think has really had much success on the world stage. So I'm personally going to be rooting for them.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I'm really happy to see all these teams here from the Southeast Asian qualifiers. We see, for example, someone like Nisha coming from Poland. It was a full Polish team, and all of a sudden he's playing on Secret. You know, he's basically made a break. And a stage like this is where you can make a break, where you can make a big impact on not just you guys at home or you guys in the audience or us, but also to your peers, to the players that are maybe watching this as well and saying, hey, you know what? If we ever need an offlaner, maybe we can get him.
And I think this last TI really also demonstrated how a lot of these teams really treat the first 6 months of the season as, you know, not vacation necessarily, but it's certainly not as serious as you take that lead up to TI. And rosters are very fluid up until like that last spring shuffle.
What do you mean last spring shuffle? Last month before TI.
That's true. I mean, hey, if OG proved anything, it's that, you know, what is an invite to TI?
Stability is dead.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you're better off playing the qualifiers.
It's friendship. You know, they've got full Indonesians, like you're saying. Yeah. Friendship could succeed, but it is versus LGD. So it would be an excellent win, but yeah, I mean, the odds are pretty low for them. It's extremely difficult, especially because it's not like LGD's been out of practice.
No, that's true.
And that's the thing, is if we had LGD, they didn't play, let's say, the Kuala Major, or the qualifiers, which would have been weird, then maybe, but now they came here out of their own choice as well. Like,
it's not just that, it's LGD with a chip on their shoulder, because they did come second at TI. You could argue they should have won the 3rd game of the upper bracket final against OG. You could probably argue they could have won any game in the finals that they ended up dropping, and they want to win. I would imagine that no other result at this event would be acceptable, and I wouldn't be surprised if they were trying to do it without dropping a game.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to go all for it, definitely. I think maybe for Boom ID, they got maybe a little bit unlucky that there were no direct invites to all the majors and minors, so that everybody had to play. So yeah, they are in practice. They are not out of practice. They're ready. For Boom ID, I like that interview though. They're going to focus on themselves one step at a time. We have the draft ready as well, so we can jump into that one as we see what they're going for. Previous game, we saw Winter Wyvern being super successful. Any other heroes that you're thinking, like, you know what, for Boom ID, if they want to have a good shot, focusing on themselves, these would be standout heroes?
Their Shaker looked really strong when they played it during the group stage. I think that's one they should look for. I think, honestly, the last game we talked about, we were just shocked that the Wyvern and Tiny made it through. I wouldn't be surprised if it just banned down the first 3 from either side.
I'd like to see the PL Brood type hero for Boom ID. I think you need some hero that can get ahead of the game and just give the rest of your team the ability to play around, because I don't see LGD dropping a game to, you know, thinking back to like the old days, you know, these combinations of heroes, you know, like let's say a Morana Sand King Witch Doctor type lineup where your whole concept is, we're just going to run around, throw some stuns, and hope we just get 50 kills in 20 minutes and snowball the game. You're going to need a clear path to victory, tower pressure, Roche control, and I really want to see them utilize one of those heroes that kind of gives you everything, which is why I like Brood so much. Natural map eater, you take map dominance, and all of a sudden the script of the game kind of writes itself and victory is almost assured.
I just want them to have something that doesn't allow I mean, I don't want them to say that Boom ID can't go late game, but going late game versus a team like LGD, I feel like they have to have themselves on like a window where, all right, we're going to end this game by 35 minutes because our decision making is no way going to be equivalent to a team like LGD.
It's a concept
as it progresses.
It's a concept you see a lot of teams use, right? Where when you're playing against a superior team, the longer the game goes, the more that skill difference is going to come into play. So if you can keep it short, then maybe a draft advantage, a rune spawn, a Roche, like that could just be enough to give you a victory if you have the ability to close it out. You can see there are 3 bans finished up: Undying, Pugna, Tiny, Wisp, Silencer coming out from LGD, which I believe we were seeing them ban at TI, unless of course they're playing OG and they got to take out the Ana heroes.
Yeah, the Undying ban.
Yeah. I mean, that's a C-meta superstar for sure.
Yeah, we saw that here a lot playing SEA in some of the qualifiers.
10 seconds remaining.
That's
Dire team pick.
The one hero we haven't talked about much here is Ogre. Wasn't seen too much in the qualifiers, but then that's the other one, Ogre Tree. These 2 big bruising heroes that just show up in a lane and just bully. We've talked a lot about the impact of denies on the current meta, and 25% XP going to the team that denies and only 25% going to your enemy. If you're able to dominate the laning phase, then all of a sudden, like, this core hero next to you is going to have such a massive advantage that the support's not free to do as he pleases, and it's critical.
What do you like versus Tree usually? My favorite, I think, is Jakiro, actually, in like the laning phase component. It feels very, very nice.
I like Necro. It's a super high, I think ranged heroes specifically, and things that can abuse just right clicks. Tree's a 0 armor hero. You just have to make sure you have a sentry, and if you can play aggressive on the tree, I think it's a lot more effective. And there's really I don't believe there is a melee hero in Dota that can stand up to a tree. Phoenix is quite nice as well. Tree does hit for like 93 damage, but if you get hit by a fire spirit, all of a sudden you're not getting any attacks off for 10+ seconds.
That's why the Jakiro one is one of those where I've seen a couple people do it because you can't punch. You just get dual breath liquid fired and you sit there like unable to really hit. So LGD, they have, I mean, heavy sustain already coming up between these 2 heroes.
I love the Lina pick, though. We saw Secret do this as well against the Necro first 2. I think it's a great immediate counterplay because you do so much damage through the Ghost Shroud, and it's an excellent synergy with Tree, plus the counter to Phoenix. The counter. You have way too much attack speed. Between Lina and Huskar, like, there's nothing else better to deal with it.
5 seconds remaining.
And there's the TA ban, of course, another thing Secret did. Also somewhat gives a tell that this is most likely a core Lina.
I think you probably want to anyway, just in case, even if you did want to move it, right? Like,
it's just such a scary hero. It wasn't really touched in any of the nerfs, and it's just so easy, especially when you're a team like LGD. I'd be very afraid of playing against them when maybe he's on not just like a map-dominating tempo hero, but also one that's going to have a dominant laning phase. Like, that just, I'm already afraid.
What was the only nerfs? What, it was trap damage, I think, post-TI?
Yeah, you can't one-shot waves anymore. I think ever, if I'm not mistaken. It gets very close.
It gets very close. You get the range creep, but you don't get
And that's like level 3 with the talent as well. So I've seen a lot of players sometimes skip it now for the other, so that, you know, it still shoves waves, but it's not as silly as it was before, where a few moments in the enemy jungle would allow you to then clear waves in that lane for 2 minutes.
You needed gem pretty much versus TAS when she hit level 18. You were like, okay, well, we just have to take out the traps, or we can never push out of lanes. So yeah.
PL removed. We saw how dominant he can be in left unattended previous game. So what are we looking to see fixed here? We got a lot of team fight already for PSG LGD with the Phoenix there. Dream Protector, does he count as good team fight? I mean, his overgrowth is nice. Is it good enough? Yeah?
It's pretty good. It gives you good information all the time around the map too, so you can pick and choose your fights.
And you can see LGD did their homework. They banned out the Nyx Assassin.
You have you have Necro Phoenix. I think Nyx is like the best versus those two. One of the best versus those 2 heroes. And it's SEA, right?
Yep.
Nyx is just very abundant here.
If you want to end the game fast, which you guys agree kind of Boomadi probably wants to do, or relatively fast, let's put it that way, you want to have already a natural way to go high ground that doesn't rely on specific items. Are there any heroes that are specifically good at breaching high ground that they can go for?
I mean, it was the Pugna, but they actually banned that early on. But,
it's setting up to be a nice Brood game. I wouldn't be surprised to see Boom ID take that 4th. Neither support of LGD can deal with the Brood in any way. Very good against the Necro as well. He doesn't clear spiders anymore now that they're massive magic resist and health regen, you need one of those physical damage cores to actually deal with the spider spam. Right?
10 seconds.
Yeah, if they did want to go for it, right, it's like you pick the Brood and then you ban the Kunkka and you hope for the best. Yeah.
5 seconds.
But for their third
remaining.
pick,
I think you just take a support
Support,
here.
yeah.
You've already kind of committed to the Lina core. I think it's a great Lina core game as well. Whenever you're playing against two supports that have no reach, a core and two supports that really have no way of getting on top of you. If you position properly, like Lina will have pretty much a free game.
and that's like the difference. Like in the last game, there was the Earth Spirit, so it's every single time Midwin's like trying to do something, this Earth Spirit just gets on top of him.
I like core Lina a lot with the tree as well. Tree can just play super aggressive in the enemy jungle, placing great wards. Love the Furion thing. So good. Whenever you're playing against two weak supports, such as Bane Phoenix, Furion is all of a sudden the most dominant hero on the map for the first 5 minutes. He will win whatever lane he's in, and then he's able to just teleport around the map, pressure towers, and neither one of LGD's supports really contributes much until they hit level 6. And in a game you start behind, that could be, to 10, for really the tome timing before you actually get one of these heroes involved in the game.
5 seconds remaining.
And we also have seen Boom play Furion and Broodmother together. I really think that might be what they're planning here.
Dirty.
Yeah.
But even worse.
I think they should. I mean, they should do something like that versus LGD. We don't want to sell it. It's just unfortunate that they reverse LGD, but.
But to be fair, I mean, you guys have been talking about Brood a lot. PSG LGD, they should know this.
Yeah.
Isn't this the biggest bait?
This is the dream Brood game.
Isn't this the biggest bait though? Mind games.
It might be, but at the same time, I mean, I don't really believe there's such a thing as cheese anymore in Dota.
Okay.
We've seen a couple pro players complaining that in pubs, that 10th pick is now like so powerful.
22nd pick.
You need a ban before it because there's Brood, there's Huskar, PL can be considered this, Morphling, Storm, all these heroes that if you don't have a real answer, like they just take over the game and win it. And I think Broodmother is specifically one that, it's a bit cheesy, but if you have good matchups, I think you just take over even if they do have a counter pick for you because of how fast you can farm and the way you're able to itemize to clear both buildings, Roche, and the entire map.
I mean, you change the dynamic of the game immediately as soon as the hero's picked. So it's like any plan that could have been there, they have to immediately start to adapt. Yeah,
it's cool because if you ever talk to players about games, like how if you're trying to ask them about a game, they'll be, oh, which one? There's certain heroes that make it the title. The Brood game, the Huskar game, and that's now how it's remembered because it is not real Dota anymore. And there you go. I love it. I don't think you can deal with the Boom ID lanes right now. They have 3 Furion supports.
So now they have to ban Kunkka. No, they have to ban the Kunkka. Otherwise, LGD will take the Kunkka, and that's going to be really, really tough.
How are they going to run this? Are they going to put the Brood mid and Lina as a support, or this is going to be a Brood on the side? Like, what are you doing with the Lina now?
I think you can keep it a bit open. My fear is I think there's 2 hard counters to Brood. Beastmaster, Kunkka. Beastmaster at level 3 will clear all spiders in 2 axes, and at level 7 he clears spiders immediately. That is so powerful.
No one's playing it though.
Chalice plays a great Beastmaster. He did it at TI. I saw them in the Chinese qualifiers beat a Broodmother easily because you just walk down a lane once you're at a certain point. You roar the Brood. As all of a sudden, Broodmother can't itemize anything to actually deal with the Beastmaster. You get roared, you get Minotaur stunned or something, and all of a sudden you're dead, and your spiders are just dead because the axes are chasing them.
That's a good point. I wasn't thinking about Chalice's hero because they already had like the Necro and stuff. That's a really good point.
Yeah, and
it's a book. If you wanted to go for book in this situation too, it can work really well with their team.
And that's, again, why we see Necro first, too, so often, right? Because it can be your 1 or your 3, and I would argue it's incredibly effective at both roles. There's really a lot of cores, thinking of like a Tiny as an example. Yeah, theoretically, you could play it as your 1 in the safe lane, but no one wants to do that, whereas Necro is just fine wherever you want to place it.
Well, they're taking their time here for the last bans and last picks.
Yeah, I looked at LGD and I was just like, yep, Chalice, Necro, Ame, Morphling, and then it's the maybe hero left, but yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, maybe Kunkka is still a fine answer.
He loves it too.
I fear for it in this game because I just don't know if it's fast enough. Like, all LGD's heroes just...
They banned it anyway. They banned it anyway.
Picked up Mirana.
Yeah. I think the thing is that the Kunkka gives them it would give them a lot of catch, which they are kind of lacking. That was the one. It's amazing versus the Brood, and it gives you that extra team fight and catch that you're lineup can really benefit from.
I just think they need a hero that can get into the middle of a fight. That's why I really feel like Beastmaster is excellent in this situation. But if there was a draft in a game for Boom ID to win, I feel like it would be this one. I think that they have comfort picks. They have a dominant laning advantage at the moment.
How does Egg go off in this game? There's Mirana Leap plus Fiery Soul, literally the two best heroes.
Every game the qualifiers Phoenix was picked up, you know, they were banning Mirana, and every time the Mirana went through, it would win them the game.
Yeah, the
this
Egg just
hero
dies.
is very, very good against.
They're limited on time.
Yep. 5 seconds reserve time left. And they're thinking, it's a dragon.
Really?
It's the maybe hero.
Choose your hero.
You're not impressed.
I don't know. I mean, if I'm a believer in the Boom ID Brood, and before we even get to predictions, I would say that this is their game. I like their draft a lot. I feel like if they can just, it's not just winning the lanes they need to do, they got to clear these towers. And if they can take out 2 or 3 by the 12-minute mark, I think they can just sit on their haunches, farm the map, eventually get Roche, win the game.
I mean, this is we literally were saying it too. Like, this is their best approach.
Yeah.
Just going for something that's just going to get LGD off of their usual type of game. And yeah, they have to go for their Brood. Brood Furion.
Yeah, I think it's their best shot, but at the end of the day, LGD is absolutely going to win this one.
All right, well, let's find out what our commentators think about this game. It is over to Grand and Capitalist.
And thank you very much, Sheever. And we just heard that they like Boom ID's draft, but this is against second place, 1 game away from winning TI. And I know heroes are good, but I mean, there's a human aspect to Dota, right?
Yes, certainly. And I don't really care what, like, you can focus on yourself as much as you want, but when you're up on stage and you look over to the other side of the stage and you see some legends that could have won TI, then something's going to get to you. So
You get nervous. Huh.
Hoping the best for Boom ID here in execution, because they're going to need a very high level of execution to be able to not only just beat LGD in general, but also for their draft. I agree that their draft is quite good, but it is one of those sort of situations where you can't afford a whole lot of mistakes. They need to be able to win their lanes. They need to be able to take objectives early, start limiting map control, get Roshans. It's like this to-do list that is pretty long, and you need to hit every single one of those pieces to be able to win this game. And whereas LGD, I think it's a little bit more natural in the fact that they just pretty much have to chill out. Longer the game goes, the more likely they are to win.
Is it going to be like a DK versus Brood middle, do you think?
Yeah, you can have Necrophos mid versus Broodmother. I think that was actually supposed to be okay, only in that lane matchup, not the side lanes. But, I mean, since they picked DK, I think it's got to be mid lane against the Broodmother. They'll just do the typical Chalice Necrophos. They've run a fair amount.
Yep, and that's interesting, right? Because if either one of those heroes like rotates either, say, to the jungle or DK goes to gank, that tower's going to fall, right? DK forms so good at taking towers. Broodmother, amazing at taking towers. But it feels like Brood isn't going to have as much room, right? If she goes to jungle when DK's level 6, she's going to lose her tower. Doesn't she have to sit in lane?
Yeah, that is going to be a bit of a problem. And then also not just being able to take that mid tower is also a problem for Broodmother because...
It's Morph. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. It's Morphling middle.
Okay.
DK safe lane.
I wonder how Morph actually does against Broodmother. I don't think I've seen that matchup before.
I mean, it has to be super good for Morph like levels 1 through 3, but once you get those spiderlings, right, it has to be...
Yeah, I have to assume that like once you get 4 or 5 and there's a lot of spiders running at you, you can't really stay high agility. You're just going to take a lot of harassment damage. There's not a whole lot to prevent the Broodmother from just getting free damage on the tower and stuff. Maybe it's one of those,
What are we looking at?
Well, we'll see how it goes. This is an excellent opportunity, though, for Boom ID with the Treant Protector scouting things out. They can go for...
Arrow barely misses because of that. But it looks like they will still
get it.
The arrow does. Hey, yeah, the Treant looks like just runs over and they get the first blood. And like you said, right, the tree scanner, that's going to be a big thing. The tree can just move around this map and have a pretty good game. That's a hero we've been seeing. It's either not picked at all or it's like first pick. Teams either love it or hate it. I don't know if you have like, do you like it? Do you like it having him on your team in your games?
I like it a decent amount. One of the really bad things is that it feels like a hero that can't really be impactful in the mid lane at all, and usually just likes to chill out in just one of the side lanes and control that and farm a decent amount. Morphling also hates Treant Protector because you can't really stay into that full agility form because this hero is just able to get on top of you so often. So I can see another reason why they might want to be able to run this Morphling mid. You can already see how the full agility build is working against this Broodmother early. In these first couple of levels where you don't have the spiders, and especially this first one where you don't even have the nuke to be able to secure CS, having to run in and get close range to that Morphling and try and go for that CS is going to be very painful.
Yeah, it is, and obviously Brood can't even do anything, right? Like, because the Morph's full agility has 10 armor at level 1, the Brood just absolutely does nothing. Has terrible base damage. Yeah, it'll be interesting once you get Broodlings.
Bad stats in general for Broodmother, because you have so many other great things about the hero. So definitely not going to be man fighting Broodmother anytime soon.
Well, yeah, you see it right there, just harassing completely out of lane. He tanks the tower as well, though, loses a lot of life there. Looks like he's bringing out some flasks, though, for this Morphling. And then top lane, it's Necro Phoenix versus Nature's Prophet. I'm sure you already know, Kyle was happy. Nature's Prophet, he loved this hero as a support, always did, and we finally get to see it. I mean, you see the base damage is high, the tree ends, ton of harass. It's just hard to kill. You don't really get much when you kill him either.
It's great harassment for sure against the Phoenix. It doesn't feel as good against the Necrophos because you're only physical damage. You can't really threaten the hero too much. Plus, Necrophos actually likes, because he's one of the few heroes that really benefits. Oh, nice setup.
Yeah, they hit it there. Roots there. Stuns there. Does get the brain sap off. Look at that. You see, if it's level 2, that tree's level 2, that's going to be an easy kill for him. We see some harass coming out on DK, but I don't think he cares at all right now.
Yeah, one of the downsides of the creep wave pushing it is that you're usually naturally under-leveled, and there's a creep advantage to the enemy team, so you just don't really have a whole lot of offensive power at that point.
Here's what we see. We do see some of the little spiders there do a decent harass, but he has to run them out. You don't want to feed him away. One waveform, a couple of attacks. That's a lot. It's a little gold, but I mean, it adds up very quickly.
Yeah. Now we'll see whether or not the Broodmother, like, you should start being able to get a little bit more even CS, since you can compete with the Morphling in CSing both hitting creeps as well as denies, just using your spider babies to help you out.
We saw the Morph actually has Stout Shields queued up. Do you think he gets one versus Spider?
I mean, if he intends to stay in this lane, going level 5, level 7, I think he has to.
He does, yep. Stout Shield for the Morphling, very rare to see, but a good
double Stout Shield, maybe?
Night. Chill out, Cap. I don't think he's that great. Well, maybe he is, though. Look at that, the bounty rune. Yeah, you see, it's still there. FY? Is he gonna, like... No, right.
They're letting it ferment.
They are, but it looks like it will get picked up, actually, by Nature's Prophet. All right, well, that's nice. Just 3 minutes in, bounty rune. All right, cool. Looks like they are just trying to fight over this big camp right here. Heals coming out. FY, though, he's in a lot of trouble. Will that one air out? No. Not quite enough. Will health potion out.
But yeah, the Necrophos trade super efficiently, or at least better than most heroes against the Train Protector harassment, right? Because if you do secure the train last hit, then giving you some regen. Most heroes like hate actually fighting the trees, but Necrophos doesn't like too much.
Or regen. I mean, that's how the middle is this patch, right? You just get regen. You can't leave the lane. You leave the lane like level 4 or 5. You just lost. You just lose power at that point.
Yeah. I think that's another big reason that there are certain cores that, if they don't need regen, are like super valuable in the laning phase. So Dragon Knight is one of them. We actually have another one in this game, Necrophos. Bloodseeker's a great example as well.
See the double stun. He did go double stout, so he really wants to just stay in that lane. I mean, him and Sumail play very similarly, where they do these kind of different things other people don't think about.
Yeah, maybe this is something that the Theory crafted, and maybe they've tried it out in scrims or something.
Oh, wow. Get the kill there. X-Nova goes down. We're going to see Tree just run away. And DK, I mean, this DK doesn't feel like he's ever going to die down here, but I think the Lina is only 15-2. I mean, the Lina eventually can start harassing DK a decent amount, right? Or no? Is DK just always going to be happy down here?
I think DK, I mean, it's like that classic mid matchup, right? DK
True.
Versus Lina as well. It's the same thing in the side lanes where you're just never going to get low enough until level 6, when the Lina picks up Laguna Blade. It's definitely possible that the Train Protector and her can go for the kill.
Dire's top tower
Chalice just aggressively pushing forward, really limiting this Mirana as the 5-minute bounty runes comes up.
Look at this. It looks like Dire should actually get... Oh, it is just going to be 2 for 2. Surprisingly, just 2 weirdly taken runes. You see Nature's Prophet stole that top one.
So I actually think 5-minute bounty runes as well as Siege Wagon timings have really created a more dynamic sense of what do you do during the laning phase, and offers different strategy approaches. And I think one of the big things is being able to aggressively push lanes at 4:30, setting up a 5-minute bounty rune, forcing the enemy team to basically choose. And you saw there that the Mirana actually got pushed out of lane, went for the bounty runes, and as a result missed a lot of golden experience from the creep wave.
And going in right here, but as you see, will get hit by the arrow. Death Pulse is up again though, will pop it out. Will they continue to chase? Looks like they might want to, but no, they back down. Almost getting that kill right there. And you see these little spiders, they just do nothing. He's just farming them up slowly, not even using, he doesn't even have waveform, by the way.
Yeah, I guess this is one of those situations where you as the Broodmother, you have no idea. Like, you've never experienced this. You have no idea what you're supposed to do. You think you're just supposed to run Broodmother like Spiderlings at the Morphling, and you should win. But Ame seems kind of okay with this. He just turns and fights with his Stout Shield and is getting some CS. It's weirdly working out really well for him. He's 15-6 right now in CS, which is obviously a little bit disguised, or a lot disguised.
They're swapping now, though. It looks like the Morphling's going top, and you have Necro middle.
So now that you have Necro in the higher levels of the Death Pulse,
a lot easier to see that almost kills him off right there immediately, with no waveform especially.
Because in the classic matchup between these two, the first couple of levels were always really difficult for the Necrophos because your attack damage was so low. And so you would actually sometimes lose out in CS in the first 3 levels because of that.
See, the Nature's Prophet, he went for the little cheeky play there. They have the ward behind the tower, tries to get the chicken, but can't quite do it. Pretty static game. It is 2-0 Boom ID. They are up in kills, but they are down in gold currently. And it's the problem, right? Early levels of tree, you can't do anything. You just sit in lane. Like, you just sit bottom. You can't really roam middle, but oh man, Mirana has to use 2 leaps. Using 2 leaps early doesn't feel that good. It's a very long spawn time on those leaps.
Oh yeah, Mirana hates it when you put pressure on her and she's forced to use that escape mechanism. It's just such a long cooldown. They're doing a really good job limiting this Stream Protector's presence in lane as well by cutting down some trees, playing the other side of the lane as best as possible.
Nova should be in a little bit of trouble. Stun will hit, but on the backside, DK trying to put damage on the Nature's Prophet. A TP from X-Nova should be able to make it away. No, it's so long, because Ame was TPing down here, so Bane's TP took forever. They get the kill. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Oh, and they get the stun up on Lina. Will you get the kill? Yes, because Morphling changes in, gets another stun up, and wow. Ame may have got his support killed, but he's fine. He's got a double kill.
I just can't believe the Bane tried to TP back to the tower like that instead of just going home. It's one of those like extra efficiency plays that ends up getting you killed instead. Now the Phoenix takes over that mid lane for a little bit while the Necrophos...
I like it. Morphling is still just using Light Strike Race to kill trees from the morph duration.
Yeah.
Help out his lane. Or maybe he's going to sit down here. I don't know. He's taking damage. You got to be careful. That Lina is level 6. Lead Sheet comes out. Won't do too much. Wait. Okay. I almost thought the Morphling was going to just get to pick up a Vanguard, but goes for the treads. Not going to. I was like, is he this crazy? I know he's a little bit.
That would be a wild one.
Yeah. Good last hits under tower. Chalice still middle, level 6 at 9 minutes in. The Brood is still getting a bunch, but so is Ame. Feels like both the the playmaking heroes, the one you want to win the game, are both doing decently right now.
Yeah, he's doing a good job. Like, one thing that Ferbian is doing well is constantly making sure he's cutting the creep wave, and this naturally forces these rotations from these supports to protect their core. Part of the problem is they aren't winning like the side lanes as a result, which they kind of should, right? Like the net worth should just be a bit higher on like the Mirana, but it looks like she suffered really badly in CSing against that Necrophos for so long.
Man, Ame just continues to farm up bottom. Can't do much against him. Top. DK's up there now. He can just pressure it, especially if it's a one-on-one lane. He's fine. He's just gonna farm. He's gonna pressure the tower occasionally with his level 6.
Yeah, you expect like the next support rotation up to this top lane. If they can successfully kill the Mirana, they pop Dragon Form for the kill, then take the tower.
There you go. They're gonna run it Chalice middle here. will pop the Death Pulse, but it looks like it will be a kill. That helps out because bottom lane, they get both Bounty Runes, and look at this. Top lane, Mirana's getting one as well. They do get the stun up. Oh, gets the stun though. Ame won't go down. But Boom ID, they're happy. They just got a kill and 3 Bounty Runes in 10 minutes.
Pop of the Moonlight Shadow. Looks like Jokum here was a little bit threatened by the Dragon Knight. Pop the Dragon Form though, kind of expecting these supports to come up to this top lane now maybe.
That's a nice play though. He's in Viz, he arrows the siege. That could very well just be a tier 1 tower. But by arrowing that siege creep, slows the push down there a ton.
For sure. It seems like the arrow was like, you always use this arrow to be able to farm up hard camp neutrals, but neutrals just being worth a lot less. This newer iteration of Mirana just always kills siege wagons all the time.
Well, looks like that middle tower might finally be going down to this Brood. Super low, it is deniable, and here we go, he's just gonna backdoor it.
Oh, what a deny!
What a deny, nice. That's just all the gold completely gone right there.
Yeah, that is massive. That is something that just really shouldn't happen because you have such an advantage for the Brood Mother.
And a lot of times you're like, well, they got the tower, they can push, but it's a Brood. You expect to get that tower early. You want that gold. Like, you're no matter what getting that tower eventually.
And again, your teammates really do need this gold. The Mirana really needs that net worth. The Lina's doing all right for herself, but Ame is so big. He's going to get a very fast Lincolns.
Here we go. You see the tree. Rotates up top, maybe deals with the DK. And here we go. You have the medallion, actually, but it's still, the big surround. But look who's here. It's FY, only level 4. Those fire spirits are pretty damn good. They're actually going to go for a ton of damage getting put on. He gets the stun, but he will get tree armor. Will wear off. He's going to try to TP one more hit. Won't get it. Will get out of there barely.
Having this Brood Mother, always going to be pressuring that mid lane. Won't really be able to help out the side lanes, obviously. They have damage issues, right? And this is where they always need to make sure that they have the Lina in any of these fights. Because the Mirana doesn't give you a whole lot of damage unless it's killing a support.
Yes. There's a easy one, root into arrow. DK popped the form to just backdoor hit the tower, do that extra 100 damage while he could. But guess what? My friend, tree armor, it actually really does change the game. Because you can't just try to take down this tower. You have to fully commit to them, or he's going to heal him right up.
Yeah, that's why I kept expecting these support rotations up to the top lane, because you can't, the Dragon Knight by himself is never going to be able to do it. They bring the tower a little bit low. Boom ID naturally just shores up the lane a bunch. They're going to make sure that there's no more pushes coming in for next minute or two. Let the constant living armor instances heal it back up.
And you do see the Veil picked up here, making it a lot easier to clear out these spiders.
Yeah, now you just one-shot the Spiderites.
Nice. Look at this. Even with that hasted Bane, he can't get the grip off. Nice job. There comes the grip. But X-Nova might just die to the little spiders. Oh, no. Gets the one, and oh, my. That is a 60. That's just a full minute now. Brood's gone. You got to capitalize as we talk. You got to get a tower now if you're LGD, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure if they want to try and push in that mid lane or rotate up to top.
Looks like they do want to push in middle. You see he changed into the Brood to make some little spiders. Bottom lane getting pushed in, they will just flip it up. Chalice to defend it.
They force the rotation. Now I think in turn, Boom ID should try and protect their mid tower. Like once they've made LGD kind of split up.
Ooh, they're gonna try, and he's gonna go
just finish off those spiders. Just make sure he can't do any more damage.
Just keep the towers up. I mean, yeah. If you're Boom ID, you're down a little bit of gold, but you're fine. All your towers are gonna stay up for the most part, but they finally do rotate a couple heroes up top to try to get that top tower. Are getting a sleep, stun comes out, Mirana's gonna go down. This might be a little harder to defend.
I do like the fact that LGD basically split up their threats. Being able to push mid lane, which Ame could do single-handedly, and then also operating with a threat at top lane. Knowing that Boom ID is going to try and defend one of these towers, but they won't be able to take down both.
Now, just like that, LGD up by more than 1,000 gold. You do still have a level 12 Brood, but he's operating bottom. He's going to finally put some webs down. As the thing, Brood, usually he just wants to sit middle, right? He doesn't even mind. He's farm the jungle, push tier 2, but it looks like he really wants the hell bottom. But look at Shadow Blade. He's going to be a right click coming out, and they're just going to go for him again. Oh my goodness, if he dies right when he spawns, looks like he will be able to puzzly run out. Looks like that Death Bolt chasing FY actually gets the kill. And
It's the increase on the egg range. 1,300 is massive. And I think it's a large part why Phoenix is back as a hero is that you can't just run away from the Supernova as easily.
Nice double stun. Gonna get both of them. They're gonna get all 4 bounties. Whoa, I lied. FY is gonna be able to steal one. He's definitely gonna get punished for it, but we'll get the kill. Nah, if you get this kill on Lina, he will get tree armored up. In comes Chalice, so no ulti from him. We saw it already used. And well, he steals the bat. Well, that's a worth it, right? If you're Phoenix.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, I would say
later
it's worth
runes,
it. I don't
absolutely
care.
worth it. I'm not sure when it actually becomes super worth it for you.
This is just regular worth it.
Yeah, just regular worth it, Grant.
That's another Radiance coming out.
It's like the difference between a guarantee and a Grant guarantee,
Yeah.
you know?
One's good for something, one's not. Arrow, once again, clears out the siege. And it looks like he actually wants to pressure this tower, but this is not really a lane you especially want to be in. He does have that ward, you see, but Radiant scans, they know he's sticking around. And
They have
still red.
tormented this Mirana. They've hunted him down so many times.
Will get out of it.
As a result, with no damage, he doesn't really have much of a game. Doesn't pose much of a threat. Again, these cores are so tanky. The pickup from LGD, Morphling, Necrophos, Dragonite. Like, Lina is the only operating carry that can actually threaten any of these heroes.
That's going to be tough because she is pretty farmed right now, but the Morphling almost to that Linken's. Oh, Invis barely picked up by the bird.
And because of that awkward rotation for the Broodmother bottom lane, she in turn loses control of mid, has to replace the spiders. It's not in the place you want to be.
Missed out there on the Yules into stun. Chalice, will he still at least go down? Laguna comes out, so much damage, it's a big rotation, but in comes the rest of them. Ame as well as FY are here. FY does have the egg, he knows he can't just pop it right now. Well, he's going to, but it looks like they should be able to bring it down. The grip comes out. They get the kill, but they do kill FY Stop Egg, but now look at this. He's gonna get stunned by Ame with that morph, and I think this guy's just too strong now.
Mirana may be one of the better heroes to go and kill that egg, but FY knows he's in a position where they've already won the team fight. If they turn around and try and kill the egg, then they're screwed. And if they try and run away, they're probably just gonna get burned out and die anyways, so. He trades away his life to make sure they get a decent fight for themselves. Going to be able to take a tier 1 tower pretty soon as well.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Or not.
The glyph into tree armor here. We'll just heal him. I don't know, that, like playing versus a tree or lich anytime, pro game, pub game, it always just feels like such a nuisance. There's on him. Arrow's gonna fly. We'll just hit a creep. We're gonna look for one. Looks like Bane will get taken down here. X-Nova sacrificing his life. But they turn it around. Chalice level 13, Ame 14. And you just see, right? Yeah, the Mirana's level 10 from the safe lane.
They've got the numbers to be able to win this fight.
Oh, dodges the arrow, but gets stunned up again. Laguna flies, they get it there. And yeah, because this Brood rotating all the webs down here makes it a lot easier to go for, and they're giving up this tower.
Yeah, that was like, you're seeing all these heroes like Boom ID just squad up all of a sudden, all 5 heroes in this bottom lane, and I see LGD, they're split up across the map, they're trying to get some farm from FY in this top lane.
It does feel like if they are going to continue to pressure tier 2 bottom.
The difference is that these cores from LGD, again, are scaling a lot better, but they're also farming a lot better than Boom ID.
I was going to say, if they pressure tier 2, you have a Morphling. You go full agility. It's pretty easy. Oh, the long-range ultimate from Tree. They want to guarantee this tier 2, and it looks like they probably will. We didn't see the wake up by the Tree, taking off that Nightmare. So it will be a tier 2 for Roche, and I think if you're Morphling, you're happy. If you're the rest of the team, you're like, well, Morphling, you better carry us. They will lose this tier 2.
Yeah.
You like the, looks like DK's going for Orchid.
Yeah, I saw that. Interesting concept. We'll see, like, you're going to be able to hard lock down some of these heroes, especially considering they're already ahead in when it comes to the timings of these items. He's going to be picking up this Orchid before Mirana and Lina have their defensive items against it, so. And he's already got the Shadow Blade to be able to hunt them down. Boom ID, like the 5-manning that they did bottom lane, it's nice, but it's also the only thing they really can do right now. Just because if they start splitting up and trying to farm efficiently, then nice pickup. They're just going to lose out on that game from LGD because they're going to get certain pickoffs from the Dragonite or the Necrophos Reaper Scythe.
And now you see Brood is going to go back to middle, and you just got to farm lane, go to jungle, try to get some items, and then just show up to these ganks now. You have enough. You have a ton of stuns in Lockdown. You got Tree, Lina, Arrow, even the Nature's Prophet, Sprout.
Yeah, he's been using the Sprout to be able to take off the Lincolns on the Morphling. You know, just little things like that can really go a long way.
There we go. Uh-oh. Invis gets the attack off, and they're just going to go. Will they be able to rain down? He has leaps. He will leap away, and they don't have another stun. Should be able to get out of there. Nice job there. Just leap TP.
Bottom tower is under
Don't hesitate.
Yeah, because the courier died. He hasn't gotten his Orchid to him yet.
Oh, breaks down the trees. Does he have enough damage? I don't think they have another stun. Oh my goodness, but he is so over
He's
leveled.
teleporting right next to himself. Ah, well.
Whatever.
You were dying anyway.
Now, so when do you want to see a gem? Like, I assume from LGD, right? You're against this tree. Like, get rid of their vision. Do you get it now? Feels like you're pretty strong with that Aegis.
Yeah, this Dragonite, he's feeling pretty unkillable. He go around while he's hunting Mirana's.
Rotation.
May run into tree.
Will fly the Laguna. Does get it. And they bring it down. Can they get another kill? Arrow is gonna miss. Barely. Very well could have been another kill. They're going to try to keep chasing. He turns into Bruce. He's going to try to run downhill. They're doing so much damage. That Medallion of Courage, so nice from the Nature's Prophet.
And now they've got 45 critical seconds for Boom ID where the Morphling's dead, and they're definitely stronger in team fights. Like, what are you going to do with this? What is the objective you're going to be able to take? Because right now, farming neutrals just isn't going to be good enough. They have that offlane tier 1 tower that's still up, that Furion's pushing in that lane, but I really think that this should be one of those plays where you remember where Fnatic got a pick off and they instantly smoked and immediately went and invaded the enemy jungle, right? I think that's the kind of play Boom ID needs to be able to make here because you don't have the highest, like, you're a pretty low cooldown team. You're kind of always ready to fight. You need to be able to utilize that and continue to keep LGD on the back foot. Make sure that they're always playing with one hero picked off. You split up like this, you farm these neutrals, these are free opportunities for this Dragonite.
Goes for it. Can't quite bring it down. There we go. Arrow flies out, will miss. He did. Looked like he Orchid and stunned at the same time. He just wanted the extra burst, right? Like,
yeah, I
think
think
he knew they were TPing in.
Yeah, he just wanted to be able to kill as fast as possible before he could get to the shrine. Basically, if you Orchid later, right, and you start getting the shrine, well, that just completely offsets the burst damage that's going to come at the end of the Orchid timing.
Oh, here we go. We'll look for the tree here. The grip is finally going to fly out. Nature's Prophet ulti will do a little damage, but guess what? You're going to be dead for a good long while. And there. FY. He knew something was like, how'd they have vision? Gets it brought down. Looks like Ame wants to take this tier 2 again, but Tree Armor takes it the full, and they're just going to TP up there. Dire's doing a good job of not giving rid of their towers, though. Or giving up, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, they did a good job of making sure they didn't concede too much net worth to LGD in that regard. They're sort of catching up in some regard when it comes to the farm. They now have the Maelstrom for the Mirana, which is a really big pickup.
Ooh. Look at this. Mike, it has the webs up there, just runs them down even after the flyaway. This Brood is doing quite a bit of work, but they still hadn't gotten another objective. That tier 1 stands top. He took that tier 2 a while ago. They're getting kills, but you got to get more out of it, is what you're saying.
Fervient's style of Broodmother is pretty interesting. This is, as you said, like most Broodmothers hang out in the mid lane, and the damage that they do is more economic than anything else because they take over the enemy Ancient, as well as some of the other neutrals on the enemy side of the map. They are continually pressuring the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3s, and it's just like this annoying presence that slowly just wears on you. And the rotations he usually makes is when his allies push in side lanes into tier 2 areas. So it's a shorter part of the map where you can walk over from mid lane. But here, Fervient's playing like a much more active Broodmother that really gets involved in the side lanes and is willing to lay these webs out and get these pickoffs. Unfortunately, it's not turning. The big problem is that LGD is always making sure that the lanes are pushed in, so the Broodmother doesn't get that really dominant. The best part of Broodmother games is when you control all of the tier 2s on the enemy side of the map, right? You're just like making the map very small for you in that regard. You can just move back and forth.
Stun will fly. It is a level 17 Brood, though. Tough kill. Medallion obviously helps out the armor.
And a hero that can potentially turn around on you. With that gigantic amount of lifesteal, that's possible.
Oh, and look at this. Looks like Dire's rotating up almost fully. Here they are. There's going to be 5 heroes top. Who will they find? It looks like it will just be X-Nova. And once once again, as a 5-position player, I'm sure he's like, whatever, I'll tank the death. 5 people up top.
Yeah, and there's 2 heroes pushing in mid, 1 hero pushing in bottom right now for LGD. So again, they are making sure that BoomID do not get a good lockdown of all 3 lanes. So even if they do get this tower, then it's very likely that LGD is going to try and do the same. This bottom part of the map, take that off-lane tower away.
Radiant structures are fortified.
The shotgun comes out from Morphling very close here. Looks like 500 gold. Necro level 18 with the Yules.
It's a good place for him to farm too, because he also sees like TP rotations onto the shrine, which is very likely if BoomID want to protect this tower.
It's like, well, we're going to see it. Ulti is getting committed. Oh my goodness, that DK. You think you're pretty strong, but no, Yules is going to flout. Do we have enough stun from the Lina? Won't need it because the arrow hits first. They're scared of the tag, but they keep the Necro perma stun here. And this should just be a free kill. Ame does kill Fervy in top lane, but 2 for 1.
Yeah,
but you do lose Bird.
Massive, and Necrofo's just coming in like a bit late on a hero that's already pretty much doomed to death.
Goes for the TP out.
No.
Oh, the tree, please let me in.
Maybe that wasn't the Sprout play. Fervian giving the nod there to from our poor Nature's Prophet.
What? So it's only a 1K lead still. LGD, 26 minutes in. BoomID doing a great job. You know, they're abusing their Broodmother. They're bringing multiple people to fight. Even though they're not getting that many objectives, they're keeping theirs and they're keeping the pressure on.
Yeah, they're playing, like, I would be very nervous if I was BoomID like 5-10 minutes ago, like not actually getting the map control that I really want, but they're playing very patiently. I like that they're constantly playing for the 5-man. Even if it loses the map control, it's getting them these big pickoffs.
Well, see you later, Tree. It'll be a pretty easy killer. Even tries the Fairy Fire, but you're going to go down. It's the Fire Spirit's DPS now.
I do wish that BoomID would play a little less off of neutrals, and if they did want to play off of neutrals, just try and play on LGD's side of the map to do so, because I feel like they do concede a lot when, say, this Marauder right now, if you check him out, he's farming up the Dire jungle when he could have been at that top lane when the Broodmother was still dead. He could have been in that top lane, pushing in that lane as quick as possible. That way, BoomID actually has a smoke play to be able to make off.
I don't know, just continue to push, honestly. Tons of summons with the treants, the spiders. We'll see if they want to continue pushing top. But it looks like there's already going to be a Phoenix up there as well as Ame, so you do have to be very... If you don't see Ame in the map at this point in the game, you just can't be pushing out that far, right? He has the F-Blade. You know you're going to die if you get found.
He definitely has the solo pick-off potential. And they've even got really good team fight with it. Early Shivas on FY's Phoenix.
Here we go. They're going to use the ultimate from the Mirana here, but it looks like LGD knew what was coming. We're going to see DK take some harass. Oh my goodness, does a ton of damage. They actually have it. Look at that. They have the Sentry, they get the dust, and wow. Another kill. Ame does end up bringing down the Mirana. It looked like they baited him in. They knew that that ulti was there, but they get the DK. We'll see what they can get out of that. Well, actually, Chalice is coming in middle. Throws the Yules. Oh, gets Yules himself by the Lina. And now Lina's going to TP away.
That was such a great rotation where they were struggling to be able to find anybody in this top lane with the Moonlight Shadow and then finding the DK instead. That was awesome. Just Mirana overextending herself. Like, once they got that pick off the Dragonite, if they don't lose the Mirana, then you've got a tier 2 probably, either mid or top lane.
But the one little mistake, sometimes you want that kill bad. You're like, if we get this kill, we can get even more. And you overextend. I have Scotty almost on Morphling, about 2,000 gold away. Do they, can they deal with this Morphling late game? Or like 6-slotted, 50-minute Morphling, is that just can't deal with it? It's like PL last game?
Yeah, very similar to the PL where you're just going to run out of damage. He's just going to morph into strength if you're throwing nukes on him, while still having pretty good right click. I don't think this Lina can really turn anything. And again, the LGD have like most of the that's
Well, Chalice is sitting down here. They're looking for anyone. Doesn't look like they'll find. Who do you think needs to make something happen right now?
BoomID, definitely. I keep on thinking, like, where's the smokes, you know? Like, we need to see some like playing a little bit less off of these neutrals, playing a little bit more aggressively for smoke rotations that allow you to be able to get kills. I know they're probably pretty scared of the team fight of the Phoenix, but you need to be able to play for either pickoffs or a decent team fight initiation. You're just not going to win if you keep stalling out the game.
Shadows are going to take us. Radiant does have a gem though, and there's going to be a DK stun. Looks like the hill tree will get hit. He's orchid as well, but this DK once again gets melted by Lina. There goes the egg. It's going to try to do a little bit of damage, but it gets brought down so quickly. Chalice there. He already has to use his defensive Ghost Shroud. See you later. Bane's going to go down. They do get the tree. Bane actually does get out. Ame brings down Mirana. Lina goes down. X Noah dies in the backside. And look at this. It's the Morphling. Oh, goes back into this, but look at this. Ferbian's just chasing him down. This very well could be another kill. He's going to try to TP out. Do they have the damage? Probably not. But Boom ID. They win the fight.
Yeah, Ame's impact in that team fight just came so late that the numbers advantage was there for Boom ID. And the Broodmother being able to just out-man fight Morphling. You're not in a place where you can really turn on that hero.
Do you see that damage done by Brood?
Yeah.
Like 6,000 of the 9,000. That is insane.
So much of it was probably related to that Morphling, though, right? Because two different HP bars that he went through, basically.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, from behind. Get ready. FY's coming. Has a Shivas, by the way. Does a decent amount of damage. Oh, but he's supposed to be BKB. Has the ulti. He's life stealing a ton. Ame's like, please, I'm trying to kill him. He's going to go down. Ferbian with the plays right there. That's 400 gold for us. That's good gold. Phoenix off the map. Boom ID.
Oh, Ferbian's feeling it right now. Keeps on giving that Broodmother line delicious over and over again.
That's such, you know, you'd expect, right? You're playing against the second place TI. Maybe you just freak out. You try to run away and you die, but no. BKB, ulti. I'm at full health. I'm getting a kill. They even use the shrine. I mean, with a Roche fight up, that could be a big deal.
Yeah. They've got, big pickup with this BKB. Like, now, FY's impact in this team fight is going to be so minimalized.
He won't do anything.
Once the BKB was up for the Broodmother, it's kind of an okay trade-off because at least the Brood isn't going on anybody else. But now with Mirana, that fast attack speed you get from leaping in, the Lina was already a problem as well.
That's just, I mean, it's a ton of damage. Obviously, he took the plus 80 attack speed down to 15. So that, yeah, that egg, unless the egg is somewhere on top of a hill where they don't have a ward, I really don't see it ever going off again.
Yeah. This shift going into the mid-game with your BKB timings for Boom, this is probably going to be where they're absolutely their strongest against LGD's lineup. They've also got this Meteor Hammer as well for the Train Protector, which is just not just a pushing item, but it also can help you in the team fights off of the Overgrowth. A lot of opportunities here for Boom ID. They just need to be able to secure, again, just enough map control to be able to get themselves Roshan and to be able to get all the lanes pushed in where you're just playing, you're pushing LGD inside their base. LGD has been very aggressive, though, to not be locked into that position. It's why they've been willing. What?
I don't think they know it. It looked like it was like the max range. So
yeah,
I don't think
it
they
looks
know
like
they
he was
hit
trying to
anyone.
scout out Roshan Pit and hit a Dragonite instead.
I'll just clear it out. Will they go for Roche here? Looks like they just want to sit in there. No, looks like he is going to start doing it. He actually does a decent chunk of damage right there, but Shadow Blade's out. Morph is level 25. Has the Scotty. Does a ton of damage, but we saw, I mean, if you melt the rest of his team, Morphling, I mean, he can't just stand there by himself.
Yeah.
He's not like the Brood who has that life steal. Oh, Shadows are going to take us. Well, at least the Dire team.
Radiant
Immediate smoke playing onto the high ground. LGD's response is very appropriate. They don't need to rush anything.
Everyone over here, though, looks like Nature's Product could be a little out of position. Radiant's looking. Instead, the Mirana does get hit. Just runs away. Nice job. Boom ID decommits. Gets out of there, doesn't lose anyone.
Look at this push at bottom lane.
Yeah,
the Furion's hitting into the tier 3s.
He is, and Ferbian gets the X Nova, and, well, they're just going to keep running. That's an 8-second BKB. He's going to continue to try to bring him down. Down bottom, though, as you said, he has the +4 tree in town. They are going to find a kill up here, though. It is on the Mirana, but once again, that tower is getting massacred.
It's another time where Jokum just, like, a little bit mispositioning.
Yeah.
Like, they've already got a win by the Furion pushing in that bottom lane. They know a hero is going to rotate out. All they have to do is play together around this Roshan pit.
Oh my goodness. And now Link is going to get canceled. And this egg might actually be perfect. They get Fervian easily. And now, oh no, this Lina gets stunned. Is hiding behind the trees. Do they know? Yep, I see it paying out. Reaper's Sight, 140 seconds. And now, uh-oh, you did a good job pushing bottom. Oh no, the double sprout to trap them both in. And well, that's a 5 for 0 cap. That very well could just be, well, we have a Morphling now. We just want a team fight. We got Roche. You guys are in trouble.
And LGD just, they reacted to the pressure really well, but I feel like Boom ID also just crumbled there.
Little, yeah.
Like the Furion, again, pushing in that bottom lane was going to force a rotation. All they had to do at that point in time was just be able to play around Roshan, play for that Aegis and Cheese. If LGD wants to take the fight 4 versus 5, when you are able to bring the Furion back in, then by all means, go for it. But once you lose your Mirana, then you start rushing things as well. Your Furion's still not in a position to be able to help you out that much in a team fight. Like, LGD pretty much took that 4 versus 3 when it could have been a 5 versus 4.
You see double siege unit there. We're just going to see him push in middle. You saw top lane, Ame pushed it in enough, and then TP's bottom of the jungle, and well, Necro pushed another lane, so they pushed 2 lanes. Looks like they're going to get at least 2 towers out of it. And there's another Lotus Orb on this Necro. And yeah, they're probably going to get tier 1 and tier 2 bottom right. Whoa, he's going to blink in. He's going to go for it. The Shivas will hit. He is just going to BKB that Orchid. Arrow will hit. Doing a decent chunk of damage. The Maelstrom, obviously, the magic damage as well. So much of it. No more leaps. Doesn't want to go for it. Now there's the Adaptive Strike. Give me some of those. And oh my goodness, he is a very farmed young man on Ame.
Yeah, he gets Butterfly. I have no idea how he's going to die.
Oh, the Radiance burn. Health, bring it down. Blinks over, tries to stop. And well, your Mirana's just dead for 60 seconds. You might lose 2 Raxes here. If you lose a team fight here, you might just be losing the game. Goes for it, goes for that Nature's Front. They don't have their Vision or Gem up there close. There we go. Dustin's getting popped. They find the tree. No tree armor is definitely a good way. He does have buyback. Oh my goodness, Morphling looks for it.
Ame is one of the most dangerous players to put him in this sort of position where he's been free farming already, but you give him that opportunity. Once there's a pickoff like that, he knows how aggressively he can play forward, and you just can't really get anywhere close to it at that point, right? If you're Boom ID, you basically need to be able to sit back, go, all right, we've lost lanes of Raxes, we need to wait until all of our heroes are back up and we have our full team fight potential.
Look at that, 2 full sets of Raxes. They can't go for the 3rd. And here we go, Reaper slides on the back, it locks him down. Oh my goodness, instant buyback coming out, but they have already killed the Nature's Proud as well. They're just gonna run out. Tier 2 does still stand top, so what they're doing right now is pretty much just taunting Boom ID, it feels like. They want him to, like, we know you bought back. Here we go, gonna try to get the damage. They get it, Fervian goes down, instant buyback, cancels the link, gets on Lina. Arrow does fly forward, that should be a kill, it is. Chalice goes down. Now Ame in a little bit of trouble, Adaptive Strike flies. Radiant Courier dies. He has the Butterfly now on Morphling. That's what just flew in. They get the kill on Fervian. That is no buyback. There is a buyback still on Mirana. Will do it. But oh my goodness, Lina already used by good games called. And what looked like a very even game 5 minutes ago turns into an over game. It just, Ame got out of control.
Yeah. I mean, we talked at the start of this, there's this to-do list, and there was a lot of things that my team needed to be able to do with very few mistakes being given. And one of the things is they miss out on Roshan, and then the next Roshan fight just turns terrible for them. It's just so unfortunate because Boom ID, it felt like they were doing such a good job in so many different aspects of this game. I think Fervian's Broodmother, the panel was handling, they said this is their best shot for Boom ID to be able to take down a monster in LGD. And with that pickup, they proved why. Like, Fervian was doing a great job. I felt like the Mirana, very low impact from a bad laning phase, and then just a couple of mispositionings for these team fights. Certain very key pickoffs for Boom ID are thrown away when you lose a hero like that, when you lose one of your cores.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously LGD, I mean, one of the top, at least 2 teams in the world, I mean, according to TI. Works out, they get the win against Boom ID, but Boom ID, they look good, and they've looked good, right? Group stage, they were undefeated, 5-0. Yeah. I mean, how they qualified this event, they got 2-0'd in winner's bracket and losers bracket all the way through, ended up winning it, and well, they're here now, and you see that the handshakes come, and I don't know, if Boom ID plays like that, they have a very good chance, I think, of qualifying second place in this group, right? They just have to beat out
Agreed.
Admiral.
Yes.
And I mean, Boom ID, they look like a very solid team. I love their drafting. I love how they played.
I mean, if you can look good against LGD, I think you can look good against anyone here.
Yeah,
so
exactly. I mean, maybe you're playing up to that, but maybe you're playing, as long as you don't play down to Admiral if they think they're better than that. And the Brood, like you said, I like how he played it. He did help middle. He takes that tier 1, but then he goes bottom a little bit different, and it actually helps push out other lanes. But, I mean, it's all in vain. Unfortunately, they do end up losing. What are your last thoughts on this game?
I think the Broodmother and the slight innovations that Fervient brought to it are something that's kind of unique, and one of the things that has allowed Boom ID to get here to the main stage and be able to play a pretty decent game against LGD. And I'm looking forward to seeing more of them in the future in their drafts.
Yep, I agree. Can't wait. We're definitely going to see more of them later. They will play against Admiral slightly later in the night. But guess what? We still have other games to go, but we have even more to go. We need to hear what the panel thinks this game. The TI-8 second placers almost lost, so let's hear what Shiva and the gang has to say about it.
They almost lost PSG LGD, but they didn't. And in the end, definitely the last fight, it looked pretty damn convincing. And to be honest, did they almost lose, Kyle?
Not really.
Not really.
I mean, LGD was always going to take that game if it got long enough. We've discussed, the Phoenix GPM talent, like the Ame Morph, like eventually they're going to take that game. But I was so impressed by the Dream Itself Broodmother. He played, he obviously didn't understand that mid matchup. I didn't either. And I don't even know if he necessarily played it poor. Morph has like a double damage advantage for the first few levels. But he was so smooth. That kill on FY, that he attacked to get the kill off the Orchid burn damage and immediately turned away. Like, you can't teach these things. And he looks like a potential superstar in the making.
The thing I really liked is I like that they even touched upon it at the end of the cast was he tried to help out his lanes. Like, a lot about the Brood, you see them, it's just like, all right, do your own things, let the Brood take over his lane, his area of the game. He moved around the map. He's like, oh, damn, bottom's not going how we want it. All right, I'm going to just make my way down there after a bit of time. But yeah, he was making moves around all over the place, and they made it a pretty contested game where I don't think we thought it would be. I think it gets to that point that we were talking about is where it's the decision-making, right? Yeah. They're doing the split push thing bottom with the Nature's Prophet, and they still continue to try to go for the rush, and then they get kind of caught out splitting themselves up rather than making one straight call. And that's where you see that inexperience kind of come into play.
Yeah, I think for the most part, the mid-game really was very impressive because straight at the start in the lanes, it was like, all right, all three cores of LGD, they're getting ahead, this is looking pretty rough, but suddenly, as you say, with the ways that they were able to utilize the Brood, they really brought themselves back into it, they got themselves this lead, they were making sort of the correct calls, the correct sort of outplays in terms of maneuvers across the map, but then it really was sort of those final moments where it sort of came crushing down, where you are sort of, in terms of experience, sure, the team were lesser of it, especially when it comes to obviously playing on LAN and playing at this sort of level, and sort of one sort of misplay or mistake, it suddenly sort of leads you down this path of, wait, what do we do now? And then it all happens so fast, literally as we saw, the last minutes, closing minutes, the game just shut down immediately.
It's hard though, because, their draft really doesn't have any team fight. They're predicated, their win condition is to get ahead, stay ahead, and have the freedom to take objectives, and specifically Rashawn, because of that lead, but you're never winning a team fight in the pit. Yeah. And we saw this at TI, like there's always going to be a huge couple of team fights in an even game, and I don't know how you can deal with an FY Phoenix with the Shivas up in the pit. And we saw, they lose that one engagement, didn't really have much of a prayer in it, to be quite honest, and from there, Ame is a Morphling with an Aegis, like he's just going to walk down lanes.
It's a Morphling with an Aegis versus a team with pretty much no reliable stuns or anything to kind of lock this man down. So game gets later and later. It gets, sure, they've got Spirit Vessel and some like kind of cute things to catch him, maybe slow him down a little bit, but it's a Morphling versus like no stun.
I will say though, I love the concept of the Treant plus the Brood. It seems like there's a lot of innate synergy. Brood's going to take towers, Treant's going to protect yours. He's able to scout invisible and then set up for Brood to just come over with that Orchid. And also the Pulse healing up the spiders as you push was pretty cool to watch a couple times as well. So
the Treant Brood for me felt like it had the cool combo, and in the game too, when the draft was coming out, the Furion as well. But I feel like Furion, Tree, and Brood, it seems like you're tripling down already, right? Like you're picking the Tree for the laning phase, and then you're also picking the Nature's Prophet for the laning phase, and then you have this Broodmother. It just feels like they committed too many things into one basket instead of having like, all right, we've already got the tree. Maybe instead of the Nature's Prophet, which we did like, of course, they could have had something that give them that team fight, give them the catch.
Silencer, as an example, something that was banned.
Yeah.
Well, Boom ID, they dropped this game, but they do look promising. One thing that I'm a little worried for later on, Admiral Dota knows why this was promising. That Broodmother, we talked about it before the game started as well, and I'm sure that they will have either an answer to it, be more prepared for it, or maybe just going to ban it out completely, just to push them out of their comfort zone. But that is all for later. That was Group A. Oh, sorry, Group B for now. We are going to go back to Group A, and we will do so after a break.